the Voyager 2 probe after a heartbeat signal was picked up. Contact with the spacecraft launched in 1977.
NASA lost contact with its Voyager 2 probe last month, but a heartbeat signal from the craft has been picked up during a regular scan of the sky overnight.
Far beyond the warmth of our sun, past the reach of planets and moons, Voyager 2 drifts through the quiet frontier of interstellar space. For decades, it has carried NASA's hopes and instruments into the unknown, its high-gain antenna pointed home, forever listening, waiting. Then there is a flicker, a modulation in the signal, not random, never random. It pulses once, twice, again. A frequency lock so precise it aligns to the microsecond. It is a rhythm, a transmission of photons, coherent and deliberate. A whisper from somewhere beyond the heliopause, threading through the solar wind to reach us. The image resolves in the data stream. Lattice-like structures, geometric tessellations bending in non-Euclidean angles, mathematics rendered into light, obeying rules we have never written. Cold, symmetrical, intentional. What is this? Where did it come from? So perfect, so structured, as if consciousness itself had etched it into the fabric of space. I will explain this later, but for now, just understand. What Voyager saw destabilized everything we thought we knew about the universe. If you want to follow the signal, subscribe now, because this is only the first pulse. In the summer of 1977, under a sky bright with possibility, NASA launched Voyager 2, a small spacecraft with a grand destiny. Strapped to its side was something more than metal and circuits, the golden record, a time capsule of Earth. Etched into its grooves were greetings in 55 languages, the sounds of wind and waves, and music from Bach to Chuck Berry. A message to anyone, anywhere, who might be listening. It was humanity's way of saying, we were here, we tried to understand. Voyager 2 began its odyssey with purpose. In 1979, it swept past Jupiter, capturing storms larger than Earth and revealing moons that defied imagination. In 1981, it reached Saturn, sending home visions of its rings, intricate and delicate as spun glass. Then came Uranus in 1986, a pale blue mystery spinning on its side, followed by Neptune in 1989, where Voyager 2 glimpsed supersonic winds and a moon named Triton, geysers spraying into the void. With its planetary tour complete, Voyager 2 pressed on, past the orbits of the outer planets into the edge of the solar system. Decades passed. The headlines faded. The world turned its attention elsewhere. But Voyager did not stop. In 2018, it crossed the heliopause, slipping quietly into interstellar space. Out here, there are no planets, no warmth, only the slow drift between the stars. For more than 40 years, Voyager 2 had been a ghost on the edge of human memory, drifting far beyond the reach of planets, past the heliopause, into the deep stillness of interstellar space. It spoke rarely, and when it did, its voice was faint, a fragile beam of radio waves, carrying little more than the basics: its position, its health, its steady march into the unknown. Day after day, the data was the same. Routine, predictable, comfortingly ordinary. The spacecraft was now so far away that its signals took more than 16 hours to reach Earth. It was like listening to a friend across a canyon so wide you could barely hear them breathe. NASA's Deep Space Network continued to track it out of habit, logging its transmissions into archives most people never read. Voyager was a living relic, still moving, still listening, but long past the days when it surprised us, until the burst. It came without warning, cutting through the normal data stream like a voice suddenly shouting in a silent room. Instruments registered a surge, far stronger than Voyager's ancient transmitter should have been able to produce. Engineers blinked, rewound, checked for solar interference or cosmic ray hits. Nothing fit. What made the burst stranger was its order. The waveforms weren't random spikes or chaotic noise. They repeated. Patterns emerged. Symmetrical intervals, spiraling sequences that built upon themselves. Numbers looping back like reflections in an infinite mirror. The control room fell into an uneasy quiet. Monitors glowed with rows of data that seemed almost intentional. No one dared to guess what it meant. Not yet. But as the strange rhythm continued to flow from the most distant object humanity had ever sent, one thought began to take root. This was not just noise. This was something else. The burst of data was fed into NASA's most advanced AI analysis systems, algorithms designed to sift cosmic chaos from meaningful patterns. For hours, the processors churned, mapping numbers into shapes, sequences into structures. Then, on the main display, the first image appeared. It was a lattice, delicate yet impossibly precise, woven from lines of pure mathematics. Every intersection formed a perfect angle. Every segment mirrored flawlessly in all directions. The structure pulsed with repeating prime numbers, each embedded in spirals that echoed the Fibonacci sequence, a rhythm found in seashell, sunflowers, and galaxies alike. It was nature's code, but sharpened to perfection, stripped of any flaw or irregularity. The AI rotated the model in 3 dimensions. Light shimmered across its contours, revealing layers nested within layers, each one fitting into the next with infinite precision. It was as if it had been written, painted, or carved with an intention so exact it defied the limits of known physics. This wasn't a random artifact of space, it was design. And yet, there was something stranger. The system tracked its relative position in space, running the numbers again and again. The result was the same each time. The lattice wasn't drifting away or fixed in the distant stars, it was moving. Not through space in the way planets orbit or comets fly, no. It was adjusting itself, shifting subtly, precisely, to remain at a constant distance and bearing from Voyager 2. The realization settled over the room like a shadow. Whatever this thing was, it wasn't just out there in the void. It was aware. It had found Voyager, and it was following. In the hours after the anomaly was confirmed, the atmosphere inside NASA shifted from curiosity to controlled panic. Conference rooms were sealed. Senior scientists were pulled from other projects and ushered into closed-door meetings that stretched deep into the night. Security badges were checked twice at every entrance. Inside, voices rose and fell in heated arguments. Half the room insisting this was a breakthrough, the other half demanding it be buried before the public caught wind. Somewhere in the chaos, a handful of emails slipped out. Brief, cryptic messages between researchers. Do not discuss this outside secure channels. Avoid casual speculation in lab environments. One line, stark and chilling, read, "This is not what we thought it was." Within 24 hours, Voyager 2's data stream was rerouted, no longer flowing to the usual monitoring stations. The public telemetry feed remained unchanged, still showing the spacecraft's slow drift into interstellar space. But the real stream, the one carrying the anomaly, was encrypted and sent only to a handful of secure labs. Even among NASA personnel, few knew where the servers were. Reporters who had once covered every minor glitch in Voyager's signal found themselves shut out. Scientists who had spent their careers studying the craft's transmission suddenly had their access revoked. And yet, the whispers spread. Not just about alien contact, that was too easy, too obvious. No, the people in those sealed rooms spoke in quieter tones, about something else entirely. Something older, stranger. As the narrator's voice darkens, this was bigger than alien life. Much bigger. When Voyager's instruments turned toward the lattice, it shifted, subtly, almost shyly, as if aware of being watched. The change was not random. Angles reoriented, spirals tightened, patterns realigned in ways that seemed to acknowledge the probe's gaze. Dr. Stranger's still. Its presence distorted the local magnetic field, twisting invisible lines of force as if it were a planet-sized magnet. Yet, no mass could be detected. There was nothing to block light, and still, certain frequencies vanished into it, swallowed whole. The stars beyond were not dimmed, but edited, their light passing through stripped of specific colors, as if carefully curated, and in all the vast emptiness around it, there was no shadow, no sign it existed in the way normal objects do. It was there, and not there, geometry without substance, shape without weight. The longer the instrument studied it, the more it seemed to respond, patterns swelling, receding, shifting in rhythm with Voyager's transmissions. It felt less like a structure and more like a listener. The narrator's voice lingers, low and certain. It's not just matter, it's meaning. Weeks into the analysis, the breakthrough came quietly, buried in the endless flood of data. A junior researcher, cross-referencing the anomaly's numerical sequences, froze at her terminal. The ratios, the timing, they were familiar, too familiar. The anomaly's spirals and intervals matched the mathematical signatures embedded in the Voyager Golden Record. The pulse rates, the frequency markers, the encoded map of our solar system. Every number, every curve was there, but reversed, not scrambled, not corrupted, perfectly mirrored, as if held up against an invisible glass. When the discovery was presented to the secure room team, the silence was suffocating. These were not random cosmic echoes. This was recognition. The patterns were speaking our own language, turned back toward us. As the sequences unfolded, they grew bolder. Our prime numbers, our Fibonacci spirals, returned like a heartbeat from across the void. Then, embedded in the geometry's final layer came the message. Not in sound, not in text, but in a pattern so deliberate the meaning was undeniable. We know you. We see you. The words were never spoken aloud, but every mind in that room heard them. This was no passive reception, no accidental detection. Something had received our greeting, studied it, understood it. And now it was answering. The awe was as deep as the unease. For decades, Voyager had drifted in silence, carrying our voice into the dark. Now, in the cold space between the stars, the dark had spoken back, and whatever was speaking knew exactly who we were. Behind sealed doors, away from the official transcripts and the scrubbed press briefings, a different conversation began to take shape. It was never recorded, never written down, only traded in cautious whispers between those who had stared longest into the patterns. The anomaly was too precise, too perfect, not merely an expression of intelligence but of authorship. It felt less like we had stumbled upon a machine or a probe, and more like we had uncovered the signature on a cosmic masterpiece, an intricate flourish left by the hand that shaped the canvas itself. Some dared to say it aloud in the privacy of soundproof rooms. This was not just alien. This was something older, something present before the first atoms gathered, before the stars learned to burn. Its mathematics carried a gravity of their own, like the memory of the universe written in flawless symmetry. Every measurement, every transformation of the lattice seemed to carry intent beyond communication, an intent that implied ownership. as if the space we were drifting through, the matter that made us, the very laws that bound our reality together, were not accidents but deliberate choices. No one proposed the theory in official reports. It would be professional suicide. But late at night, under the dim glow of monitor light, a few scientists allowed themselves the dangerous thought. What if this was the architect? Not a visitor in our universe, but its maker. The narrator's voice lowers, almost to a whisper. Some scientists whispered a name they were afraid to say out loud. The Creator. Voyager drifted on, its silent journey carrying it toward a region of space where even the background stars seemed to bend. Instruments registered no matter, no radiation, only a strange harmonic resonance, as if space itself was humming. Then, without warning, the probe crossed an unseen boundary. The final transmission began as fragments of the lattice we had come to know, spirals, primes, golden ratios, shifting and accelerating, folding in on themselves like origami in higher dimensions. Layers of geometry slid into place, aligning in ways no human mind could have designed. And then it resolved. On the screens, an image bloomed. Neither static nor motion, but something alive in the language of mathematics. It was a symbol both infinite and complete, radiant with light that seemed to hold color beyond our spectrum. Every line, every curve sang in harmony with the others, an impossible unity of form and number. It felt ancient yet new, intimate yet vast, as if it had always existed and always would. Those who saw it described a presence within the pattern, a recognition, a knowing. It was not a message for the mind alone, but for something deeper, something wordless. When the signal ended, Voyager was still moving, but the image never repeated. The narrator's voice softens, almost breaking. We can call it alien, we can call it higher intelligence. But in the quiet after that final transmission, some of us believed we had seen what ancient civilizations once called by a single name, God. We thought we were alone, or that if we ever met another mind, it would be like ours, curious, imperfect, mortal. But what Voyager revealed was something far older, far greater. Perhaps the signature of the universe's own architect, etched into the fabric of existence itself. And now that we have seen it, it has seen us. In the darkness, the screens fade to black. Somewhere, across an unimaginable gulf, a single, steady pulse echoes, soft, deliberate, like a heartbeat that has been there since the beginning.